Hi, my name is Pat, and this is my channel, Book Chat with Pat, and I'm glad that you're here. Today is Poetry Thursday. This week, American poet Marie Howe was awarded the Pulitzer Prize in Poetry for her most recent book, New and Selected Poems. This collection includes some of her newest poetry and also representative samples from all of her earlier books dating back to the 1980s. I've been following Marie Howe since the 1980s, and I am simply overjoyed at this recognition. Marie Howe was born in 1950 in Rochester, New York. She worked as a newspaper reporter and as a teacher before receiving her MFA from Columbia University in 1983. She's the author of this collection that has been recognized this year. Also, Magdalene, published in 2017, which was longlisted for the National Book Award. She also published The Kingdom of Ordinary Time. This was in 2009, and this was a finalist for the Los Angeles Times Book Prize. She also wrote What the Living Do in 1998 and The Good Thief in 1988, which was selected by Margaret Atwood for the 1987 National Poetry Series. What the Living Do is in many ways an elegy for her brother John, who died of AIDS in 1989. In 1995, she co-edited the anthology In the Company of My Solitude, American Writing from the AIDS Pandemic. She studied with the poet Stanley Kunitz, who called her poetry luminous, intense, and eloquent, rooted in an abundant inner life. He selected her for a Lavin Younger Poets Award from the Academy of American Poets. She won this award in 1988. She has also been named, or she has won an Academy of American Poets Fellowship, as well as grants from the John Simon Guggenheim Foundation, the Bunting Institute, and the National Endowment for the Arts. She was named the New York State Poet Laureate from 2012 through 2016. She has also been just recently awarded the American Academy of Arts and Letters Award. Howe has taught creative writing at Tufts University and Dartmouth College, among other institutions. In 2018, she was elected a chancellor of the Academy of American Poets. She is currently a teacher in the English department at both New York University and Sarah Lawrence College. In an interview with Krista Tippett on NPR's On Being podcast, Howe talked about her poetic beginnings. She had been working as a journalist and then as, I think, a 7th and 8th grade English teacher. She remembers that she was reading T.H. White's The Once and Future King after her father died. And she specifically remembers the passage where Merlin says, The best thing for being sad is to learn something. That's the only thing that never fails. She then signed up for a writing workshop at Dartmouth. She thought she was just going to be sitting in, observing the class. The class was taught by poet Karen Powles, and Howe fully expected to just sit in for a little bit and not really stay for the whole course. Powell said that she was a poet and that she was writing her spiritual biography. Somehow this resonated with Howe, and she stayed for the rest of the course, and as they say, the rest is history. She talked about poetry. This was with Krista Tippett. She talked about poetry as holding the mystery of what it is to be alive, holding what can't be said, or what feels like it can't be said. She writes frequently about family, her family of origin and her family of choice. She writes about the sacredness of the everyday, the ordinary. As New York State Poet Laureate, she said her goal was to make poetry as ubiquitous as Gap ads. As a young woman myself in my 20s, in the 1980s, I was mourning the loss of my oldest brother. And this was when I first discovered Marie Howe, who was writing at that time about how she went on living after the loss of her brother John to AIDS. I felt like I had found my poetic sister, and I have been following her ever since. And now for some poetry. First poem I'm going to read is called Prayer, and this is from her collection, The Kingdom of Ordinary Time. Every day I want to speak with you, and every day something more important calls for my attention. The drugstore, the beauty products, the luggage I need to buy for the trip. Even now, I can hardly sit here among the falling piles of paper and clothing, the garbage trucks outside already screeching and banging. The mystics say you are as close as my own breath. Why do I flee from you? My days and nights pour through me like complaints and become a story I forgot to tell. Help me. Even as I write these words, I am planning to rise from the chair as soon as I finish this sentence. Next, Annunciation. Even if I don't see it again, nor ever feel it, I know it is, and that if once it hailed me, it ever does. And so it is myself I want to turn in that direction, not as towards a place, but it was a tilting within myself. As one turns a mirror to flash the light to where it isn't, I was blinded like that and swam in what shone at me, only able to endure it by being no one, and so specifically myself. I thought I'd die from being loved like that. Next, The Girl. So close to the end of my childbearing life, without children. If I could remember a day when I was utterly a girl and not yet a woman, but I don't think there was a day like that for me. When I look at the girl I was, dripping in her bathing suit or riding her bike, pumping hard down the newly paved street, she wears a furtive look. And even if I could go back in time to her as me, the age I am now, she would never come into my arms without believing that I wanted something. The gate. I had no idea that the gate I would step through to finally enter this world would be the space my brother's body made. He was a little taller than me, a young man, but grown himself by then, done at 28, having folded every sheet, rinsed every glass he would ever rinse under the cold and running water. "This is what you have been waiting for," he used to say to me. And I'd say, "What?" And he'd say, "This," holding up my cheese and mustard sandwich. And I'd say, "What?" And he'd say, "This," sort of looking around. What the living do. "Johnny, the kitchen sink has been clogged for days. Some utensil probably fell down there, and the Drano won't work, but smells dangerous, and the crusty dishes have piled up, waiting for the plumber I still haven't called. This is the everyday we spoke of. It's winter again. The sky's a deep, headstrong blue, and the sunlight pours through the open living room windows, because the heat's on too high in here and I can't turn it off. For weeks now, driving or dropping a bag of groceries in the street, the bag breaking. I've been thinking, this is what the living do. And yesterday, hurrying along those wobbly bricks in the Cambridge sidewalk, spilling my coffee down my wrist and sleeve, I thought it again and again later when buying a hairbrush. This is it. Parking, slamming the car door shut in the cold. What you called that yearning. What you finally gave up. We want the spring to come and the winter to pass. We want whoever to call or not call, a letter, a kiss. We want more and then more of it. But there are moments walking when I catch a glimpse of myself in the window glass, say the window of the corner video store, and I'm gripped by a cherishing so deep for my own blowing hair, chapped face, and unbuttoned coat that I am speechless. I am living. I remember you. Singularity, after Stephen Hawking. Do you sometimes want to wake up to the singularity we once were, so compact nobody needed a bed or food or money, nobody hiding in the school bathroom or home alone, pulling open the drawer where the pills are kept? For every atom belonging to me as good belongs to you. Remember, there was no nature, no them. No tests to determine if the elephant grieves her calf, or if the coral reef feels pain. Trashed oceans don't speak English or Farsi or French. Would that we could wake up to what we were when we were ocean, and before that, to when sky was earth, and animal was energy, and rock was liquid, and stars were space, and space was not at all. Nothing before we came to believe humans were so important. Before this awful loneliness, can molecules recall it? What once was before anything happened? No I, no we, no was, no verb, no noun, only a tiny dot brimming with is, 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 is. All, everything, home. The meadow. As we walk into words that have waited for us to enter them, so the meadow, muddy with dreams, is gathering itself together and trying with difficulty to remember how to make wild flowers, imperceptibly heaving with the old impatience. It knows for certain that two horses walk upon it, weary of hay. The horses, sway-backed and self-important, cannot design how the small white pony mysteriously escapes the fence every day. This is the miracle just beyond their heavy-headed grasp. And they turn from his nuzzling with irritation. Everything is crying out. Two crows rising from the hill fight and caw-cry in mid-flight, then fall and light on the meadow grass, bewildered by their weight. A dozen wasps drone, tiny prop planes sputtering into a field the farmer has not yet plowed, and what I thought was a phone turned down and ringing is the knock of a woodpecker for food or warning, I can't say. I want to add my cry to those who would speak for the sound alone. But in this world where something is always listening, even murmuring has meaning. As in the next room you moan in your sleep, turning into late morning. My love, this might be all we know of forgiveness, this small time when you can forget what you are. There will come a day when the meadow will think suddenly water, root, blossom, through no fault of its own, and the horses will lie down in daisies and clover. Bedeviled, human, your plight in waking is to choose from the words that even now sleep on your tongue, and to know that tangled among them and terribly new is the sentence that could change your life. So that's a little bit about our Pulitzer Prize winning poet, Marie Howe. As always, I thank you for listening. I hope that you're doing well. I'll speak with you again soon. Take care.